Hello, my name is Madeline Bankus. I'm currently a junior at Stockton University, and I'm hoping to graduate with a master's degree in speech-language pathology. I was born with a genetic illness called cystic fibrosis. Because of my cystic fibrosis, I was taken care of by an amazing team of healthcare professionals. My care team is what led me to want to pursue a career as a healthcare professional. Cystic fibrosis is a genetic mutation that causes the mucus in your body to be stickier. This primarily affects your lungs and your stomach. It sticks to the pancreas so that the enzymes that are supposed to break down your food get stuck before they can work. So I have to take enzymes and eat about 4,000 calories a day to accommodate for this. In my lungs, since the mucus is so sticky, I get sick very often. I'm put on a lot of antibiotics and steroids to help. I also get admitted at least once a year to the hospital due to how sick I get. I've heard it said that it takes a village to raise a child, and I think this also applies to healthcare. I've seen probably too many doctors in my lifetime to count, but I've always had one main pulmonologist. Among my pulmonologists on my care team, there were 3 nurses, a nutritionist, an endocrinologist, 2 physical therapists, and a social worker. I saw most of these people since I was an infant. I didn't realize until I transferred to adult care how much my care team really did for me. I found myself feeling like I was leaving behind my family. I started seeing my pulmonologist when I was 2 months old. The words I would use to describe my pulmonologist are intelligent, sarcastic, thoughtful, busy, sincere, trustworthy, humble-ish, self-confident, empathetic, terrible bedside manner, and truly someone I could count on. He didn't make his healthcare colleagues call him by his professional title. He told them to use his first name. He would let you ask questions and argue about your treatment options. When I was about 8 years old, my pulmonologist wanted me to get a GI tube placed because of how underweight I was. My parents were immensely against this decision, and I ended up not getting one. In later years, my pulmonologist admitted that we were right for making that choice. My pulmonologist wasn't afraid to admit that he didn't know everything either. He did this many times once I was a teen and was considerably more sicker than I had ever been before. Because of how sick I was, we ended up doing a bronchoscopy in search of some clues. My pulmonologist wasn't available to do the bronchoscopy in the time period we wanted, so another doctor was going to do it instead. I wasn't concerned because I had gotten this procedure done many times before. However, during this procedure, my left lung was punctured and I ended up having a pneumothorax. They didn't notice and they sent me back to the recovery room. I woke up immediately because of how much pain I was in. I don't remember much, but what I do remember is not being able to effectively communicate how I was feeling, arguing with the respiratory therapist because I didn't want to wear the BiPAP, having a hard time getting the other doctor to listen to my concerns, and my doctor coming down to see how the procedure went and taking over my care because of the pneumothorax. I remember they finally ordered the x-ray of my torso and my doctor coming to my bedside to explain to me what was happening. He explained that I had a collapsed lung and they were going to have to put a chest tube in so they could drain all the air out and my lung could heal. I remember him telling me that he wasn't only professionally sorry, but he was also personally sorry. This always makes me laugh because I didn't realize there was a difference. When I was 16, I was admitted to the hospital 9 times in 1 year. Every time I was admitted to the hospital, it would be a different doctor in charge of the floor. Sometimes it can be very difficult to communicate with new people and explain what's happening over and over, especially when the doctors don't communicate nor explain what they're doing. I've had the same social worker since I was an infant as well, so whenever we would have trouble, we would just call her and tell her what our concerns were. She would always come to the floor and straighten those doctors out. At the hospital I went to, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, they would give out patient-nominated Poppy Awards to healthcare professionals. My dad ended up nominating my social worker for, and I quote, being the only one who gives a damn. A few months later, we got a text from my social worker saying that she actually received the award with those words on it. She thought it was so funny and she ended up framing it on her desk. I wish I had more time to talk about how amazing my care team was because I feel like I could go on forever. There are so many experiences that have taught me valuable lessons that I just didn't get to talk about. Every person on my care team made a huge impact on my life. My pulmonologist taught me that we are all only human and it's good to be humble enough to admit that you just don't know. My social worker taught me how important it is to advocate for others and how important it is to form social and personal connections with other people. My nurses taught me how important it is to communicate with others, and my physical therapist taught me how important it is to breathe while doing exercise. Due to the influence of all these healthcare professionals, I want to be a speech-language pathologist, so one day I can hopefully impact someone's life, just as they have for mine.